Would you agree with the terrorism threat level being raised?
Yes, I do, because I have trust in the system. It's an assessment made by those who are analysts and who are strategic advisors and have access to intelligence, information, and evidence, some of it in the public domain, some of it less so. So my view is that it is a grading, and it is better to be cautious. Not only is there an assessment in terms of the level of threat, but also an assessment made should the public be notified. So I think looking at things in the round, it is the right situation to sort the current threat in place.
How do you feel about the fact that the threat level has had to raise? What's that meant for you, kind of personally, having policed in that part of the world for so long and having such huge experience of it? Is this a sad day?
Well, it's concerning. I wouldn't say sad, and I certainly wouldn't create panic or suggest that there's been a radical change. Sadly, as you say, I mean, I'm a resident in this country. I've been a member of the security forces for over 30 years. I've policed Northern Ireland, and I've seen some terrible times. Since the Good Friday Agreement, of course, we all hoped that things would be much more normal. The situation would be demilitarized. There would be political progress. And sadly, there are those who still want to destroy, who want to be violent. They want to create division. But at the same time, we need to keep everything in proportion. It's a small group, albeit a deadly group, but it is a small threat compared to what has been in the past.
Yeah, I guess the concern is that threat could be more prominent. One of the concerning groups is the new IRA, and it's being reported that they appear to have regrouped. They claimed responsibility for the attack on John Caldwell, the Detective Chief Inspector who was targeted at his son's football practice. Have the new IRA upped its visibility? And is there a concern that the 25th anniversary of the Good Friday Agreement might be a flashpoint?
Well, sadly, when there is a specific date, a commemorative date, or a date that means something in both Irish history or some other atrocity, sadly, there are those who seek that opportunity to maximise publicity. I believe what I'm being told by former colleagues, and indeed what the public are being notified about, in that the threat needs to be, as I say, treated with proportion. They're talking about possibly a group in single figures. Having said that, it only takes one or two gathered together to make a terrible atrocity if they have the weaponry. The assessment is based on three things, really. The intent, and we know they intend to do maximum damage. They have publicised threats. They have acted. Capacity, their capability to strike, and again, they've shown that. There's evidence clearly from the 23rd of February, but also other incidents where bombs have been left to kill police officers or destroy buildings. And the only other thing then is opportunity. So it's about reducing, minimizing opportunities to create damage. Terrorism and extremism is all about creating fear, provoking reaction, prompting overreaction. So from my point of view, it is again about being sensible, making the public aware, making people vigilant, and also creating some understanding that what the security forces are doing is trying to protect all of us. And therefore we need to support them.
Yeah. What is the motivation of these dissident groups? Has that motivation changed at all? And have any of the discussions, Stephen, within the UK government concerning the Northern Ireland Protocol and the role of the Union, has any of that had an impact?
Well, I've worked all around the world. I think I've worked in over 50 countries, and where there is instability or where there is a political vacuum, sadly, extremists try to exploit that. There is already some discontent within the loyalist elements of Northern Ireland, and now we have the Republican side, which has always been there. I mean, let's be frank about it. There's always been attacks on police officers. There's always been attacks on buildings. Sadly, there have been some murders since the Good Friday Agreement was signed. but things have been normalized to a great degree compared to what it used to be. So in terms of what they're about, it's about stirring the pot, trying to make themselves relevant. There's no political agenda. I mean, let's be honest, if the armed conflict of the past could not resolve the situation to the motivation of the IRA to drive the Brits out, in inverted commas, or to create a united Ireland by force, when the mass of the Republican movement have realised it's about negotiation, it's about political will, it's about democracy and people making the choices. A small group that's going to kill a few people, let's be quite frank about it, that's not going to drive people into United Ireland. All it's doing is creating division. It may radicalise, it may recruit a few extremists into their ranks, but in terms of political agenda, I think it's just about making, sadly, noise and creating division. And unfortunately, the threat is that lives could be lost. So it is absolutely right that the security forces respond, but I think everything should be treated, with a proportionate manner.
And if you enjoyed that, you can listen to me, Kate Borsay, every evening, Monday to Thursday, 8 until 10 on the evening edition on Times Radio.